What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my HTML5 tutorial. Where we left off was here, and we're trying to get to here. Now, just as a quick aside, since we're going to be styling and you guys might have a broken image and you might lust for something else besides using an image, I just quickly typed this out for you guys before, and what you might want to do is just make a paragraph tag or text, and in here call the class logo text. So then when we go to CSS, you can style this logo text however you want. So you can make it like really big and blue or whatever. But now I'm going to go ahead and delete this because that's not how I'm going to do it. So you can either use an image, you could just like go into Paint and make a quick bluish colored image that says homepage or whatever the heck you want to do. But anyway, those are just some quick ideas. So with that, let's hop into the CSS part because we've completed the HTML part. I mean, this is the functional HTML. Now all we got to do is just kind of add some color and some settings and a better font, and we're good to go. So let's hop right on into it. And the next thing we're going to want to do is we're actually completely done with our index.html. So we're going to pop over to our styles.css. One thing I'll quickly mention is I did also create this image folder, right, for the main logo, just in case you're like, hey, where does image come from? I did do that. So now when we refresh, my image is here, okay? So anyway, back to work. So here we are on our styles.css page. The first thing on our page that we find is, well, we've done the logo already, so that's okay. Next thing we want to do is we've got these links. So we kind of want to start styling the links. But the first thing I'd really like to do is just kind of apply some universal things to our page. So first we're going to go ahead and define body. And within the body here, we're going to say we want the color. And in here you just put a hex color code. You can just copy my hex code. If you don't know about hex codes, you can Google like various hex codes so you can figure out the exact code you want to use. For now, I'm going to use this code here. A little bit different in CSS or CSS versus HTML. Every line of code you have to end with this semicolon. Eventually, you're going to forget to do that, and you're going to wonder why your stuff is not changing, and that's probably going to be why. So, moving on, font size. The default, I think it's 14 is what they use, so you can just use percentages based off 14. We're going to use 80. And then you can do font family, and we want our font family to be Lucida, Sans. Really, any Sans looks pretty good. And Unicode. Next thing we want to do is line height. It just kind of makes your lines easier to read. So we're going to make it 1.5, and then text alignment. We want the text to always align left. So that's actually going to be it for our body. And moving right along, we want our links. We're going to go ahead and remove the decoloration of links. So the first thing you want to do there is just call that text decoloration, and we want to remove that. And then we're going to specify a few more things for link, and then also let's see, what did I do here? Oh, okay, no space, so just a:/link, and then a:/visited, and we're going to give this a color, and we want to give this a color of 1A94D6. I'll save that. And then let's do the hover of that link. So we'll do a hover and also active. We'll make those exactly the same. And within these tags, we want it to be color number 797979. So let's go ahead and save that and see where we are at the moment. So we refresh. And now you can see our links are looking a little better, and you can see they're styled like the links here where you kind of look at them and they change color and they're pretty. We haven't done the nav bar just yet, but we're getting very close. So let's pop over to our CSS file, and the next thing that we have, if we look at our HTML here, is once we've styled that stuff, we really need to start styling this class of body. So it's within, it's this body tag, but it's the stuff within the body tag, and we're calling it class body. So the way that you can use this is, we'll come over here, oh, we're already there, and instead of just typing out body, now you're talking about the class body. So dot body, and within the tags here, now we're going to specify some things. Margin, I'm going to say 0 auto. I'm not going to get too much into detail about that. Just copy that. Width, we're going to say 75%, and then clear both. I'm not going to get too much into that either. So we'll save that, we'll refresh, and basically what it's doing is it's giving us a little bit of stuff on the side here. Again, I'm not going to get too far into that, but eventually, like if your window is only like this big, you don't really, like let's say someone's operating with this window, we really need to not be making this space. Like when you view something on your phone, for example, you don't want that space there, right? You will get very irritated. It's wasted space. Whereas when you're viewing it on like a full screen, it makes it nice and easier to read. But when you're reading something on the phone, it already sucks. So, I mean, people aren't going to complain about that. They're going to be thankful that you've changed it to look nicer or nice enough. So that's it with our body. Now let's come back over here. The next thing we have here is the main head. And this actually is including, this is basically our nav, right? And our image. So the next thing is that. So we're going to do dot and main head. And we're going to start styling the nav part of that. So the first thing that you'll notice, obviously we had a background color. So let's do background dash color, and that's going to be that 797979. So it's a good idea to use pretty much the same colors, like probably like the same like 3 main colors of a website. That's it. You should never use any more than that. Height, we're going to give it a height of 40 pixels, and you can see how this is blacked out. That lets you know you forgot your semicolon, so you can thank your text editor. And let me give some space. I don't like typing it near the bottom of the page. Anyway, continuing along, the next thing we want is border radius. So this is going to be the curling of the border. So let me save this and refresh. We don't really have anything just yet, but we'll get back to that in a second. Border dash radius colon 7px and semicolon. Now, just as a quick aside, this stuff isn't going to turn gray for you. And we're going to do this 3 times. And the reason you're going to want to do this is for different types of browsers that aren't recognizing border radius. It's just a good idea to go ahead and do this. Again, this is stuff that, hold on, let me type this mod. This is stuff that really over time you'll learn with HTML5, but different browsers read things differently, and so you've got to kind of develop browser compatibility. So that's just something you'll have to learn over time. But anyway, continuing on, that's just for the nav. Now let's do, you've got an unordered list. So if we pop back over here, we begin with the nav tags. So we've covered this nav tag. We don't really need to style the image, and we didn't even give it a class. So obviously we can't style it anyways. And really, we've already styled it within the tag. Anyway, now we have an unordered list that we need to talk about. So now we'll do dot main head again. And this time we want to go nav unordered list, the stuff that's in there. And this stuff we want to do is list style. And we're going to give it none. And then margin, again, 0 auto. Now, the next thing we had within that unordered list was list items, LI. So now let's style those. So you had dot main head nav followed by unordered list followed by list item. How do we want to style that stuff? Obviously that's a nav bar. Now we want to say we want these items to, first of all, we want them to float left. Then we want to display them, and we want them in line, right? We don't want them on top of each other like they've been. So inline display. So we'll save that. Let's pop back over here, refresh. And now you see that they're, they need to be spaced a little bit, but they're in line, right? They're no longer on top of each other. So let's head back over to our CSS. And now the next thing we want to do is change the link part, right? If we go back over here, what's the next thing that we have? Well, we've got these links, or like the AE tags, right? So now we want to change up those links. So now what we want to do is dot main head nav, anything in the nav, now any link, and then also we're going to go ahead and do main head nav a colon visited. So this is just a way that you can kind of, if you've got like the exact same code that you're going to apply to two things, just put a comma and then do the other one. That way you're not like wasting a bunch of space. Now what we want is that background color. We're just going to make it a gray, so just use Fs, 3 Fs. Display, we want this to be inline block, and as we can see we forgot our semicolon. Inline block, padding now, so they're kind of spaced. This is width and height padding, so 10 px wide and then 25 pixels on top there. And then height, we want 20 pix. Save that. Let's refresh now. Oh, they're gone. It disappeared. We have to continue specifying some stuff. Hold up. Okay, we'll go ahead. Let's just finish the coding of it, so hopefully they'll come back for us. Now we have a few things that we're going to code, and they're all going to be the same. So first of all, we've got main head, nav, active, a link, and we've got a few more things. So instead of coding them like alongside like we did here, I'm just going to hit enter, and then we're going to do, since really we've got this, I'm just going to copy and paste it. Main head nav, and then another active, and then anything we visited. We don't really want to make it like, sometimes when you click a link it turns purple, right? Like that's kind of why we're doing what we're doing here. We don't really want specific color changes for that. Main head nav, and then we want to change up the hover, and then also we want the active one the same color, right? So now that we've done that and we've specified all the stuff that we want to code here, the background color is going to be this lightish bluish thing, BAE3, and then text shadow we want none. Save that, and let's pop over here, refresh, and as you can see we've got looks like we've got these somewhere along the lines we've styled this wrong. So this is our nav bar. Let me pop over here, see what we've done wrong. Just a second. So let's see, it's our background color here. Oh, we called it mean head. Nice, you meanie head, just wasted my time. Man, okay, let's pop over here. Let's refresh. Okay, now we've got our beautiful nav bar. Hopefully you probably, everybody else coding this with me is probably like, I don't know what his problem is. It's working fine for me. Man, and then there's probably like a couple of you guys that saw me type meanhead and you're like yelling at your screen, it's meanhead! No. Anyway, fixed.